feeling good today? Yes or no? Okay, fine. Students, are you all ready for our today's English class? Okay. In our previous class, what did we learn? We have learned about a naturalist, an environmentalist, and also a wildlife photographer. Who is he? Very good. Madhavaya Krishnan. M. Krishnan. Here, Ramachandra Guha is telling something about this M. Krishnan in his essay, M. Krishnan, Nature's Spokesman. What is meant by spokesman? Spokesman, it's like a representative. Who is the representative? On behalf of a group of people, one person will stand. He is the representative. One person will represent a group of people. Similarly, spokesman is a person who makes statements or who will talk on behalf of a group of people. Okay? A person who will talk on behalf of a group of people. So here, M. Krishnan is a nature spokesman, which means he talks on behalf of, very good, nature. M. Krishnan talks or he represents of nature. He is represented in this world. Okay, he is not only an essayist, he is not only a novelist. He has more concern towards nature. He spent much of his lifetime in the forest. Okay, he carries with his camera and a notepad and some change of clothes, and he carries everything, and he spent much of his time in the forest as he is a wildlife photographer. He has more concern towards nature. Okay, who is the conservationist or environmentalist? A person who has more concern towards nature. They have more concern. It's our duty to protect the environment. Such person are called as environmentalist. Okay, so what is meant by spokesman? Spokesman is a person who represents or who stands on behalf of a group of people. So here M. Krishnan stands on behalf of nature. Okay. Next, who is a naturalist? An expert in natural history. M. Krishnan is also a naturalist. He is expert in nature history. Alright. So in our previous class, we have learnt more about M. Krishnan. What are the novels he has written? What are the essays he has written? And also, what is the essay written by Ramachandra Guha about M. Krishnan? Is that clear? M. Krishnan used the term environmental studies in his essay in the year 1947. In the Hindu newspaper, he published an essay entitled Nature's Study. What is the title of the essay? Nature's Study. In that essay, he used the term environmental studies. Or nature study is similar as environmental studies. What is meant by environmental studies? Study of nature. So, before the term environmental studies coined, do you know when the term environmental studies was coined? Find it out. Okay. So, before the term environmental studies was coined, M. Krishnan used the term in his essay Nature's Study. So, nature's study is similar to, it has the same meaning as environmental studies in the year 1947. Okay. And as we all know that he has more concern towards nature. In this essay, he is saying that nature is not logical. Nature is not a reasonable one. We cannot control nature within a limit. Nature is a vast area. We cannot control it within a limit. It has no boundaries. Okay. And we are appreciating nature not because of its beauty, not because of its appearance, but because of its behavior, because of its characteristics. Of course, nature looks beautiful, it is admirable, but still we are appreciating nature's beauty because of its character, because of its behavior. Nature is a true friend of human beings. And M. Krishnan also insisting that everybody in this world must be aware of the nature and its things and the beauty within nature. Okay, and he is saying that every child from the primary education, each and every child should be aware of nature. They must know what are the wild animals there around my locality. What are the animals? What are the birds? What are the insects? What are the reptiles are found in my locality? Do you know what are the birds we can find here? We can see crow, crane, kingfisher, butterflies, and so many insects. We can see animals like dog, goat, cow, then sheep also, hen, cock, and a lot many birds, animals, insects, everything is available here in our locality. So, young Krishnan is saying that from childhood itself, every child must be aware of the wild animals, domestic animals, birds, insects in their locality. Students, will you find what are the animals, birds and insects we can see in our locality? Okay. He is also saying that children should read more books related to the story of domestic animals, wild animals. So he is encouraging children to read more story books, and these story books has a relationship with wild animals because India is famous for its folk tales. Each and every region in our nation has its own folk tales. In Tamil Nadu we have a lot many folk tales from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. In all the states, in every region, not only in states, in each and every region people are using a lot many proverbs, lot many folk tales are there in our nation. So India is famous for the folk tales. So young Krishnan has more knowledge about folk tales of India also. So he is saying that there are many stories, many folk tales available on domestic animals, birds and insects. So children should be encouraged to read all these storybooks, all these folk tales. He is saying that children will be attracted by looking at the illustrated pictures. So we can encourage children to read picture books. Okay, illustrated books. There we can read the story, we can see colorful pictures. And Ramachandra Guha is saying that young Krishnan is a complete naturalist. Why he is a complete naturalist? If I am in one field, I may not be aware of the other subjects. I am an English teacher, I am not aware of some other subjects like mathematics or biology. Okay, so young Krishnan is an all-rounder. He is not in one particular field, he is a best naturalist. Young Ramachandra Guha is saying that young Krishnan is a best naturalist. Now he is explaining why he is saying that young Krishnan is the best naturalist. Okay. Salim Ali. Have you all heard about this name Salim Ali? Salim Ali is also a naturalist and an ornithologist. Okay. Salim Ali is the birdman of India. It is not bad. B-A-D B-I-R-D. Birdman. So Salim Ali is the birdman of India. And also Jim Corbett is a naturalist and he is also a hunter. Corbett National Park is also here in India. He is not an Indian, but the national park is named after Jim Corbett. Okay, so Salim Ali is an ornithologist. He studied about birds. So he is familiar with, he can understand the nature of birds. He knows more about birds, especially Indian birds. So who is the birdman of India? Salim Ali. So Salim Ali is aware of Indian birds. In the same way, Jim Corbett is also a naturalist. He knows more about mammals, Indian mammals, okay, wildlife mammals. Next, a herpetologist. A herpetologist may be aware of all the reptiles and amphibians in the wildlife. So, Ramachandra Guha is saying that M. Krishnan is a naturalist, Salim Ali is a naturalist, Jim Corbett is also a naturalist, but they are specialized in their own field. But M. Krishnan is aware of everything. He knows more about animals, birds, insects. He knows each and every nook and corner of the wildlife. So he is the best naturalist. This is the award given by Ramachandra Guha. Till this, can you understand, students? So here, today what did we learn till? Ramachandra Guha is saying that before the term environmental studies was coined, M. Krishnan used the term in his essay Nature's Study, which was published in the year 1947. Then, in that essay, M. Krishnan is encouraging children to read more story books, more illustrated books. He is saying that children should know more about wildlife, animals, birds and insects, especially which are available in our locality. Here, can we see a polar bear? No. Can we see snakes here? Yes. Can we see a lion here? No. So, each locality has its own animals, birds and insects. So, every child should be aware of these wildlife, animals, birds and insects. He is encouraging children to read more folk tales because India is rich in folk tales. Each and every region has its own folk tales, folk songs, proverbs. Okay. Personally, I love to read folk tales of India. Each and every stories are so interesting, so beautiful. Okay. If you get a chance to read folk tales, you can read. Each and every day you can read at least one folk tales. There are thousands of folk tales are there in India. Alright. Okay. Next, Ramachandra Guha is praising M. Krishnan and he is saying that M. Krishnan is the best naturalist because Salim Ali is also a naturalist, but he is a specialist in Indian birds. He knows more about Indian birds. Jim Corbett knows more about mammals. A herpetologist may knows more about reptiles and amphibians, but M. Krishnan is familiar with everything. Each and every species, every creature there in the wildlife. Always M. Krishnan carries his camera, then a notebook, some change of clothes, and he carries everything and he spends much of his time in the wildlife. Okay, in the forest. He spent much of his lifetime in the forest, not in his home. He took his camera with him, he took a notepad. He is also an artist. He is also a wildlife photographer. He carries everything and he settled there in the forest. Till this, can you understand, students? He is a good traveler. He traveled to the entire India. Okay. He knows more about the snows of the Himalayas. Himalayas, is it a hottest place? No. So, he knows about the snows of the Himalayas. He knows about the mangroves Mangrove forests. Where mangrove forests are available? We can see mangroves in Sundarbans. Where is it? It's nearby Bangladesh. Okay. Orissa, Bangladesh. In that region we can see mangrove forests. And also he knows more about grasslands of Deccan. Okay. He knows more about grasslands. He knows more about hill areas like Himalayas, about the mangrove forests in Sundarbans. In Sundarbans, mainly we can see tigers. Okay. In mangrove forests, the main animal, wild animal which is terrifying the people there is tiger. Then the deserts in Rajasthan, we cannot see any grasslands, we cannot see snowfall, we cannot see mangrove forests also. We can see it's a desert place. So M. Krishnan travelled to all these places, from north to south, from east to west. Okay, so he knows, he travelled to all these places, and also he knows everything about the wildlife creatures available in these areas. He knows what are the animals or what are the birds we can see in Himalayas, what are the birds and insects and also animals there in Rajasthan. He knows what are the wildlife creatures in mangrove forests. So he travelled to all these places, not only all these places, everywhere. Everywhere he travelled, everywhere, and he took photographs in the wild. Okay. Then he wrote an essay in the year 1961. Actually, he wrote more than 1,000 essays about nature, about wildlife. Okay, as he is a naturalist, he is an environmentalist, he is a conservationist. So, he has written more than 1,000 essays only on nature. In the year 1961, he wrote an essay. By that time, our Indian government was searching a national bird. Which is our national bird? Very good, peacock. Okay, so in the year 1961, M. Krishnan wrote an essay, and in the meantime, our government of India is searching for a national bird. They have to select one bird as the national bird of India. So they are in search, they are about to decide which bird we can choose as the national bird. So in the meantime, he wrote an essay in the year 1961. So M. Krishnan's first preference is peacock. M. Krishnan's first preference is peacock, and his second preference or the second choice is country myna. Okay, M. Krishnan has chosen two birds. He is suggesting we can choose this particular bird as the national bird. So his first preference, his first choice is peacock, and his next choice is country myna. Now he is saying why I chose peacock and myna as my choices, or as we can choose these birds as the national bird. Okay. First is peacock. Peacock, it looks elegant and it is available in all over the country. Here in our locality, we can see peacocks. Have you ever seen peacocks in our area? I have seen a lot many times, because next to my village, there are many peacocks we can see there. Okay, so he is saying that peacock is available everywhere. We can see everywhere, and all over the country we can see peacocks. And also it has a good connection with Indian religion. It is basically Hinduism. So Hinduism has a good connection with peacock. It is the bird, or it is the vehicle of whom? Lord Murugan. Okay, so Murugan's vehicle is peacock, and M. Krishnan is saying that in Indian history also has a good place in peacock, and also it has a good relationship with Indian religion. We can see everywhere. We can see this bird everywhere. We can see peacock everywhere, all over the country. So we can choose peacock as the national bird. Next, his next suggestion is myna. Before that, peacock, in all the folk tales, there are so many folk tales available for how this peacock got its eye tails. Okay, so there are lot many folk tales, folk songs are there based on the tail of the peacock. I'll tell you one story which is a famous and popular story in Meghalaya among the Khasi people. Okay, this peacock, have you all seen peacock? Okay, this peacock is the husband of the sun. Okay, it's a folk tale. Do you all love folk tales? Okay, it's just a folk tale which is popular in Meghalaya among the Khasi people. There is another story with this peacock there in Khasi. Okay, in Rajasthan also they have a story for this peacock, peacock's tail especially. Okay, in this story, peacock is the husband of the sun. Sun looks very beautiful. They both live happily in the sky. Of course, the sun will be there in sky, not in earth. Okay, so the sun and this peacock, sun marries this peacock and they live happily there in the sky. One day, from the sky, this peacock is looking at the earth. There he could see a beautiful lady. Actually, it is not a lady, it is just the field of maize. Okay, this field of maize is looking like a beautiful lady from the sky. So this peacock wants to meet this particular lady. It is nothing but the field of maize. This peacock is eager to come down to earth, but the sun did not allow him. Okay, no, please, it's just a fake. Beauty is always deceptive. Okay, so the sun is warning and she is pleading to her husband, pleading to this peacock that please don't leave me and don't go to earth. But this peacock didn't obey to her words and he come down. In the meantime, what happened? The sun, she is crying, please don't leave me. So the tears of the sun falls on the feathers of the peacock and thus the peacock got beautiful shining eye-like tails. Okay, before that its tail, of course, it's very long, but it never looks that much shining and glittering. So because of the tears of the sun comes the shining eye tails for the peacock. Okay, this is one of the folk tales which is popular in Meghalaya. So as in the same way, there are lot many folk tales. So young Krishnan is saying that peacock has a good relationship with our Indian culture and heritage. So we can choose peacock as the national bird of India. His next choice is myna. Country myna is also a popular bird in our country. Everywhere we can see myna. Here in our region, in our district especially, everywhere we can see myna, right? So he is saying that myna is also a common bird as like peacock. Peacock, we can see peacock everywhere. In the same way, myna is also, we can see myna everywhere. So we can choose myna as the national bird. And also he is describing the beauty of myna. Okay, he is saying that the eyes and the beak of the myna looks cadmium yellow in color and its body is very deep brown, deep dark brown in color, and its feathers, its plumage, its feathers are of course dark brown, and its wings, it's a sequence, it's a series of brown, black and white. So he is describing each and everything of the myna, how its eyes are looking like, how its feathers, how its wings, how its head. Okay, so he is saying that cadmium yellow color is its eyes and beak, and brown, dark, deep brown feathers, black and white wings. So it has a good connection with our national emblem also. So he is preferring to choose country myna as the national bird. Finally, the government of India has chosen peacock as our national bird. Okay. So these are the descriptions he has given in that essay which was published in the year 1961. Is that clear, students? Okay. Now we came to the end of the lesson here. Ramachandra Guha is saying that young Krishnan has absorbed the nook and corner of each and every creatures in the forest. Okay, so he is admiring how this person observed everything. As a photographer, he can take photos and he can leave. He can go for another work, but each and every photograph he took and his concern towards nature is admirable. That's why Ramachandra Guha was admired by Madhavaya Krishna. So he is explaining why I was admired by M. Krishnan. M. Krishnan also says that these mynas are trained to speak and are trained to sing songs. Do you know that? Okay. So young Krishnan is saying that people are giving training to these mynas to speak and to sing. These mynas, there are lot many folk tales are there for these mynas. Okay. So young Krishnan knows everything about nature, right? Okay. Now Ramachandra Guha is saying that as a naturalist, he knows everything about nature. He observed everything. He knows the shape. He knows the color. He knows its characteristics. So he was admired by the works, or he was admired by young Krishnan. Thus he wound up his essay and he says that young Krishnan is truly a naturalist. He used sense of humor. He is aware of the folk tales. He is aware of all the wild creatures. He knows everything about Indian culture and our heritage. This is all about the lesson Young Krishnan, Nature's Spokesman. Do you have any doubts in this lesson, students? Okay, very good. I hope you all have understood our today's class. See you all in the next class, students. Until, take care. Thank you.
M. Krishnan, Nature's Spokesman by Ramachandra Guha. Krishnan was a pioneering environmentalist and conservationist. He knew and practiced environmental education before the term had been coined. Consider his essay, Nature Study, printed in the Hindu on the 18th of May, 1947. The School Approach to Nature Study, wrote this former school teacher, is fundamentally unsound. It is based on the theory that one must proceed from elementary, understandable things. There is simplification and selection, and logical, reasoned steps guide the approach. But the fact is that nature is not simple, logical and reasoned. Thank God that it is not. There is no need to fully understand anything in all its structure and complexity to be alive to its charm. What makes living things fascinating is their behavior, not their anatomy. Children in primary schools should get to know the common wild plants and birds of the locality. Birds because they are so easily watched. They should learn, a little later perhaps, the stories of the domestic animals. They should be taken out to see nature for themselves and be given pleasant books with gay, colorful illustrations. Children love them and will readily interest themselves in any text if it is free from morals and illustrated in color. Krishnan was India's best all-round naturalist. Salim Ali knew more, much more than him about Indian birds. Jim Corbett better understood the behavior of large mammals in the wild. Some botanists were more closely acquainted with Indian plants. some herpetologists with Indian reptiles. But no one knew as much as Krishnan about so many different aspects of the natural world in India. Krishnan lived and died in Chennai, known in his time as Madras, but spent much of the year in the field, accompanied only by his camera, a notebook, a sketchpad, and a change of clothes. He was familiar with the snows of the Himalayas, the deserts of Rajasthan, the mangroves of the Sundarbans, and the grasslands of the Deccan. He wrote quite beautifully about these varied terrains and about the insects, plants, birds, and animals that inhabited them. The best introduction to Krishnan is through his writings. So let me now quote from some of the thousands of nature essays that he published in his long and very full life. I shall begin with an essay published in 1961, when the government of India was deciding upon the choice of the national bird. Here, Krishnan said the leading candidate was the peacock, for everyone knows it and has seen it. It is to be found all over India, and it is intimately and anciently associated with our religious and countryside legends and culture. Further, it is so distinctive in its arresting beauty that it lends itself to unmistakable formalized description. In fact, it has been so depicted in our folk and classical art. He went on to say, "I shall be greatly surprised. Why, I shall be astonished if any other bird is ultimately preferred for the honor." Still, to make the debate more interesting, he decided to press the claims of the common miner. These were his reasons. Though sacred to no god, it is well known to our legends and folk songs and is one of the most familiar birds in the country, being especially common in and around human settlements, both in the plains and the lower hills. And in spite of being so common, few birds have a richer plumage, as the naturalist Eha pointed out long ago. The contrast of the cadmium yellow of its legs and beak and facial patches with the Van Dyke brown of its plumage and the black of its head and the blaze of white on each wing that lends its flight such vividness are contrasts that could be most effectively formalized in an emblem. It has an additional claim. It is frequently caged and trained to talk, and in our folk songs it is often entrusted with the delivery of messages to loved ones far away, a kind of ambassadorial responsibility that is surely an asset in any national bird. This passage carried the hallmarks of Krishnan's writing, an attention to the everyday aspects of nature, not merely to its most spectacular forms or manifestations, an understanding of shape and size and color and form, natural in a trained artist, a knowledge of our folk and literary traditions, and a sense of